News of the parade spread like wildfire. Queen Esther commanded that everyone has to come to watch the parade. It's a national holiday. No businesses opened. When Haman comes to Mordechai, all over Shushan, when Haman comes to dress Mordechai, Mordechai tells him, I've been wearing sackcloth and ashes, my hair is long and tangled. And Haman says, well, there's no barber opened, there's no bathhouse opened. Queen Esther closed everything for your parade. And Mordechai says, well, I can't put on the king's coronation outfit like this. You have to give me a bath. And Haman says, how dare you? He says, I know you were the one who took care of the bathhouse and the barber of Kartzin for 22 years before you came here. And so children, Haman was reduced back again to cutting Mordechai's hair and bathing him and helping him to dress and everything. And he puts him on the royal horse and he starts to parade him through the street, children. Everybody comes out to watch the parade. Everyone, children, is delighted to see Mordechai on the horse. Children, we're going to finish the story quickly, okay? And there are a lot of details. I'm not going to go through everything because it's late. One person didn't know the details, and that was none other than Haman's daughter, the one who wanted so much to be the queen. She looks out the window and she sees one person whose face is shining like the sun riding on top of the horse, and another one with his head bent down and pulling the horse, and he looks like he's so miserable. And she thinks, oh, yay, my father went to get permission from Achashverosh to kill Mordechai. Must be Mordechai is parading my father on the horse before going to be hung. I'm going to shame him. Now, children, back in those days, they didn't have plumbing like we have today.
What's plumbing?
You know how we have in the bathroom sinks and the toilet? Well, back then, darling, they didn't have that. And instead, they used to use like a big bucket. And the bucket was like their bathroom. Yes, it was like their... I mean, I know they always teach you in school it was the garbage.
That's disgusting.
Sorry, I shouldn't be telling you the truth, children. But that is the truth. It actually wasn't garbage. It was actually from the bathroom.
I know. That's
and she took the entire chamber pot and she turned it upside down with all this disgusting smell, and it landed slap bang on Haman's head, and on his head and all over him.
Ew, that's gross.
It was gross. And he looks up to
take a very
see.
good bath.
Yes, he looks up to see who did such an awful thing to him, and he's horrified. It's his own daughter. It says that she was so shocked that it was her father, and she was so petrified of him, children, that she actually jumped out the window. Yes, she killed herself. Children, all in all, there were 20,000 people marching in front of Mordechai, singing and chanting, and there were like music bands. It was a huge, huge parade that the entire city of Shushan came out to witness. Now, kids, singing this is what happens to the man whom the king wishes to honor. Children, actually, Mordechai was very unhappy about this.
Why?
He had hoped that he could get, he did, the truth is he said Tehillim throughout, and he thanked Hashem, and he saw that there was good in it, but in some parts, he had hoped that the king would grant him an audience, and that he'd be able to beg for the lives of all the Jewish people. Instead, he was getting this like fanciful reward of being paraded through the street, but that's not what he needed. That wasn't what he wanted. But, children, either way, the parade was over, and Haman goes home with his head downcast and broken, and he walks in and he's stinking to the shamayim. And nobody wants to come near him because he smelled so bad. And he was heartbroken over the loss of his daughter. She literally, it's very sad, kids. But I guess he was a wicked Rasha. I don't know. Like, she fell by his feet. And his wife Zeresh came to explain to him, listen, you started to fall in front of Mordechai, you're going to fall completely. Go beg him for forgiveness, tell the king you're sorry, say you didn't mean it, etc., etc. But children, Haman, kids, didn't have time or chance to hear what she had to say. He didn't have time to change or to shower. The guards came and they were so disgusted by him. And everyone said, ha, finally he gets his downfall. We all hate him so much. He makes everybody bow down to him and walks around so pompous like he's the king. Got what he deserved. And they come and they actually treat him like a slave, like a prisoner. And say, come on, the king wants you to come to his party. Don't you remember Queen Esther invited you last night to his second party? Come on, you. Sitting here chatting with your friends while the king and queen are waiting. And Haman goes, children, when he comes to the party, Ahasuerus tells him, we're going to finish the story fast because there's no time. Ahasuerus tells him, tells Esther, what would you like? Up to half the kingdom and it shall be yours. And this time she says, King Ahasuerus, all I ask is for my life, to spare my life. I shouldn't die. And I'm asking for my people as my request. And she said, it would be such a great loss for the king. If we were only to be sold as slaves, I would have kept quiet. But we all signed and sealed for us to be annihilated and wiped out. And it's going to cause, forget about us, it's going to cause the king such tremendous loss. And the king says, what? What? What are you talking about? Who wants to kill you? Who wants to kill your people? Who are your people? And she tells him, King Ahasuerus, I am really a Jewess. I am really a descendant of Shaul HaMelech. And King Ahasuerus killed the Jews. Who made such a decree? I never made such a decree. So children, like Kayla reminded us earlier, never did they actually say the words, kill the Jews. King Ahasuerus just told Haman, do whatever you want. And he kind of understood he's going to kill him or whatever. And he tells her,
who
wants to do such a thing?
He pretend that he didn't know.
Right. And Queen Esther points a finger and she says, this evil man, Haman. And Haman there and then realizes that what he saw so many years ago in the stars was this exact scenario happening right in front of his eyes. That the queen would point at him and to have him killed. And the king is enraged, children. Yeah.
Mommy, but Haman's wife.
Her name's Zeresh. Good job. Zeresh. And
they put all of the
garbage. I know. And children, King Ahasuerus walks out into the courtyard, into his balcony to get some fresh air. And all angry. And there, children, Harvona tells him, King Ahasuerus, that's not all. Mordechai, who saved your life, Haman, look, he prepared gallows to kill him. And Ahasuerus says, why do you make such a tall gallows? Wants to kill me too, probably. And children, Harvona, we're told, was actually Eliyahu Navi. She got rid of her. And Harvona was actually our Navi, but it also says at this point, children, yes, she got rid of her. He also tells him that Haman was in on the plot of Bigtan and Teresh. He had been part. He was part of the plot. Now, children, going on inside, Haman got up to come and plead for his life with Queen Esther. But as he walks toward her, and the truth is he had a very legitimate argument. He could have said, I never knew Queen Esther is Jewish. That was the truth. But he got so confused and so fumbled, he couldn't even say what was so obvious. And instead he falls on top of Queen Esther right as the king walks in. And kids, instead of pulling away and not touching her, instead he falls on top of her and starts to hug her. He figures, let the king think that she really likes him. Children, Haman did something very horrible. No one is ever allowed to touch us if we don't want to be touched. And even sometimes, if we like the feeling, we're still not allowed to be, touched in a not nice way, right? From the age of 3, kids, be careful to tell people, a man cannot touch a girl and we say, don't touch me, we scream, we tell our mommy, etc. Well, either way, Queen Esther, of course, wasn't a little child. She was a big person. She was a huge tzaddiket, a nevi'ah. And she starts to shriek. She starts to shriek, children. And Achashverosh comes running and he pulls Haman off her. And he says, you disgusting, vile creature. How dare you attack my wife with me in the house? And he says, go bring the brown bag. And they had like a brown or black bag. They cover his face. And he says, get rid of him. I don't want to see him anymore. And kids, we know that Haman was taken. He got hung on the tree. We'll just finish here, although there is on the gallows. Children, we'll just finish at this point because there isn't time. Tomorrow is already time. It's Esther. So kids, they could not, they could not repel the decree. Achashverosh gives Mordechai Haman's position. He gives him his house. He loves Queen Esther very much, and from now on he gets even happier that she's Shaul HaMelech's great-great-granddaughter. And he starts to talk to her more, right? And children, he could not repel the decree, but instead he said that I just made that first decree to find out who are the enemies of the Jews. Now I'm going to give the Jews weapons and an army to fight against their enemies. And children, true enough, on the 13th day of the month of Adar, the Jewish people wiped out and killed most of the enemies. And then the next day they asked to continue the war. And on the 14th day of the month of Adar, they completely wiped out the enemies. And it turned into a tremendously joyous day. The ultimate joy, children, was that Purim was actually the conclusion of the 70 years of what we call Galut Bavel. It concluded with Queen Esther's son, Dariavish II, who lets the Jews go back to rebuild the second Bet HaMikdash. That's also, kids, I find very important. When Achashverosh finds out that Queen Esther is Jewish, he no longer hates the Jews because he realizes that the Jewish king is going to take over after him. Yes, well, I didn't rip it. They had to repel it. Yeah, they had to make a second decree. But he realizes that the king that he was so afraid of, who would take over after him, because he knew a Jew would take over his kingdom after him, was none other than his own son. And so he becomes a very good friend of the Jews. He ends up loving the Jews. And Dariavish II allows the Jewish people to go back and rebuild the second Bet HaMikdash. May Hashem send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, and may we build the third, Hashem built for us the third Bet HaMikdash with the Geulah Amitit V'Hashlema. Happy Purim, everyone.
Happy